Hey everybody, how's it going? So with the the rumor that Kraven the Hunter may be from Wakanda in the MCU if they actually do introduce Kraven the Hunter, whether it's in a future Spider-Man film or Black Panther 2, there's a lot of theories about how they'd be able to do it, because, Kraven's from Russia in the comics, things like that. But if you look at Kraven's history, he spends a huge part of his time actually in Africa. He basically trains the majority of how he becomes Kraven the Hunter. That training is in Africa. The plants that enhances his physical abilities comes from Africa, just like the heart-shaped herb does. And at the same time, he falls in love and marries an African woman. So he definitely has enough, ties, you could say, to Africa in the comics that a few changes here and there, him being from Wakanda, isn't the worst thing in the world, and it may really just be the smoothest way of introducing the character to the MCU. Now, with regards to how they would do it, would they leave the character white? Would they make him black if he's from Wakanda, especially if he's from a long forgotten tribe of Wakanda that was exiled? I think the way they could do it, if they want, is make Kraven the real MCU version of the White Wolf. Now, they've already given that moniker technically to Bucky, but it's a really easy fix. You could say Bucky, using that term with him was just because he, was like the second major white person to stay in Wakanda for a prolonged period of time since Kraven. And the White Wolf's in the comics' real name is Hunter, and his parents are not from Wakanda, but they crash landed from a plane in Wakanda, and Hunter was then adopted by T'Chaka. And from there, because he was a foreigner and he was white, he was kind of kept a little hidden because the Wakandans for the most part are xenophobic. However, he did become a real patriot of Wakanda when he was trained and stuff like that. Eventually, he became the leader of Wakanda's secret police, the Hatut Zerazi, and when he became the leader of Wakanda's secret police, he was given the title White Wolf. So this would be really interesting, show more of the behind the scenes secret of Wakanda, which they kind of did in the first Black Panther movie. They peeled back a little bit. Wakanda's not as perfect as it seems when you really look on the inside of it. A lot of the crimes that T'Chaka and other previous kings of Wakanda committed. And I think this could be a similar thing. Now, whether it's a case of him having a very similar origin to Hunter, and it is worth noting that Hunter in the comics has no full name. They just call him Hunter, and that's really it. No one really knows where he comes from 100%. So because of that, they could easily retrofit him to be Kraven the Hunter. And I think Kraven the Hunter maybe being a part of the secret police of Wakanda, and then T'Challa, upon discovering that, or maybe T'Chaka, upon him becoming king, he disbands the secret police of Wakanda as a byproduct Hunter / Kraven / White Wolf, basically exiled from Wakanda as a way of T'Chaka trying to scrub away the sins of Wakanda, just like he did with Killmonger. I think that would definitely be a really interesting way of going about it, especially considering it would explain Kraven having certain technologies that would later on also make him a threat for a character like Spider-Man, because if he has ties to Wakanda, he could have vibranium technology, whether it's his clothing, bulletproof or otherwise, or just things like a vibranium sword or a vibranium knife, whatever it may be. Just having vibranium technology would definitely make him more of a threat than anything else. And also at the same time, because of the heart-shaped herb and that history with Wakanda, you could also explain how Kraven the Hunter, a character like that, would maybe use plants to enhance his physical attributes, something else that was also introduced in the MCU through Luke Cage with Bushmaster. So all things considered, there's a lot they could play around with here. Leave your comments down below. Would you like that if they do a kind of like a retcon of the White Wolf in the MCU to really be Kraven, and then once the White Wolf mantle is disbanded by someone like T'Chaka, he just becomes Kraven the Hunter? Would you guys like something like that? Leave your comments down below, and we'll see you guys later.